This meeting is called to order. Can we please stand for a salute of the flag and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to make a few comments. The Southeast Local School District would like to observe a moment of silence to acknowledge the death of Mrs. Margaret McFinlan, former Sharon Hill school teacher, on November 7, 2022, and Olivia Dasher, former Southeast Local, and George Crothers, Cadis student, on December 4, 2022. We extend our condolences to both families. May we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Before we start with the election and the pro tems, I would like to also have a few words. Before the school board of directors begin nomination of elections of their board president, I would like to thank those board members and those in the community who asked me to consider being a candidate again for president. After giving their request a lot of thought, I decided not to be a candidate. It's time to pass the baton to someone other than myself on the board, which is my colleague. Thank you. Mr. Butler.
Thank you, Madam President. This item number 3 is call for nominations for President pro tempore.
Dawn Crawley. Sharishi Abney.
Are there any other nominations for pro tem? Are there any other nominations for pro tem? Are there any other nominations? Nominations for pro tem is closed. Motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead. Go ahead.
you're going to read the motion to close.
Motion to close nomination for President pro tem.
So moved.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Election for pro tem. Oh, I'm sorry. Who was the first person?
No,
Dawn
yeah,
Crawley for pro tem.
right. Motion to elect Dawn Crawley as President pro tempore.
Oh, let's see that.
I need a motion or a second.
Motion, we need a motion and a second.
Well, you can just do a vote.
Okay.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, a nomination does not require a second. A second is permitted,
Okay.
but it's not required, so we can go ahead and vote.
Okay. I'll do a roll call. Mrs. Abney?
Yes.
Ms. Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Monroe?
Yes.
Mrs. Peter Coey?
Yes.
Ms. Woodfolk?
Is this for Dawn, or is this for Sharishi?
This is for Dawn, for pro tem.
No.
Ms. Washington?
Yay.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Ms. Crawley?
Yes.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
No.
You can stay.
Well, you,
All right, so where am I at?
Number 7.
Roll call.
Okay, do a roll call. Roll call, Mrs. Abney?
No.
No.
Present, just
Present.
present.
Oh, present,
Present, yes.
yes.
Sorry. Ms. Perry?
Present.
Ms. Monroe?
Present.
Mrs. Peter Coey?
Present.
Ms. Woodfolk?
Present.
Mrs. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Fowler?
Present.
Ms. Crawley?
Present.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
present.
Dr. Winder?
Present.
Mr. DiOrio?
Present.
Mr. Butler? Present. Moving to item 7.
Motion to approve agenda. President pro tempore.
Yes, sir. That's you. You good?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Motion carries. President pro tempore. Am I pronouncing
You know, sir, calls for
it?
nomination.
Calls for nominations for president.
I nominate Shawishi Abney and Rebecca Perry
For president? Just,
for president. So the
okay,
president pro tempore, didn't she call for nominations for president, or she didn't?
yes.
Okay, so my nominations are Shawishi Abney and Rebecca Perry.
Vote for president.
Okay.
Yes, that's my 2 nominees.
Any other nominations? Okay. Sorry. Motion to close nominations for president?
Motion. Second.
Okay, the next item is going to be election of president.
You got to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call, sorry. Mrs. Abney. This is to
I'm voting for
close.
myself, yes.
This is to close the nominations, yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, no. We don't necessarily need a roll call to close the nomination.
Okay. All right, so the next is the election of president.
But we should vote. We should vote to close the nominations, but not,
Well, that's-
but not by roll call.
Oh, okay, all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Okay,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
now we're up to 10. Okay, so the order was Shawishi Abney, and second was Rebecca Perry. So I'll start with Mrs. Abney. Motion to elect Mrs. Abney as president of the Southeast Delco School District Board of Directors for a period of 1 year, commencing immediately.
Roll call.
No,
Roll call.
I don't have to do a motion or a second on this.
Bob.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mrs. Abney,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
No.
Ms. Monroe,
No.
Mrs. Peter Coey,
Yes.
Ms. Woodfolk,
No.
Mrs. Washington,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler,
Yes.
Ms. Crawley,
Yes.
Ms. Harris Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes as Mrs. Abney to be the president. To a vote of 3 no, 6 yes.
Since she's injured, she shouldn't move.
Mm-hmm. She has it in front of her.
Yeah, I want to call for nominations for vice president.
Rebecca Perry and Cynthia Woodfolk.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Dawn Crawley. Do we have any other nominations for vice president before we close? I'd like Mr. Butler to do a roll call vote for vice president.
So we'll close.
Oh, a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Butler, can we proceed in a roll call vote?
Yeah, just open.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item, election of vice president. First, we'll start with Rebecca Perry, Cynthia Woodfolk, Dawn Crawley, in that order. Motion to elect Ms. Rebecca Perry as vice president of the Southeast Delco School District Board of Directors for a period of 1 year, commencing immediately. This will be a roll call vote. Mrs. Abney,
No.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Monroe,
Yes.
Mrs. Peter Coey,
No.
Ms. Woodfolk,
No.
Ms. Washington, Mrs. Washington,
No.
Mr. Fowler,
No.
Ms. Crawley,
No.
Ms. Harris Johnson.
No.
Okay, that motion fails. Next, we'll move to the next person, which will be Ms. Cynthia Woodfolk. Another roll call. Mrs. Abney,
No.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Monroe,
Yes.
Mrs. Peter Coey,
No.
Ms. Woodfolk,
Yes.
Mrs. Washington,
No.
Mr. Fowler,
No.
Ms. Crawley,
No.
Ms. Harris Johnson.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the third nominee, Dawn Crawley. Ms. Dawn Crawley. Roll call vote. Mrs. Abney,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
No.
Ms. Monroe,
No.
Ms. Peter Coey,
Yes.
Ms. Woodfolk,
No.
Mrs. Washington,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler,
Yes.
Ms. Crawley,
Yes.
Ms. Harris-Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. Ms. Dawn Crawley, Vice President, motion of 3 noes, 6 yeses.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Do we have any public comments on board agenda items? Do we have written cards?
There,
Yes. Ma'am, just come to the podium, please, and fill out the card you're talking.
I wanna do it correct, I don't wanna do it wrong. I don't need 3 minutes. Who I give it to?
Why are you videoing me? I can start. Ms. Manson?
Yes. Hi, Latanya Manson, 1545 Forster Avenue, Sharon Hill, Darby Township. As far as, I just have a comment and just some things that I just wanted to say. I'm talking to you. We did re-election. I hope that y'all all work together. Now that y'all did re-election and y'all moving things around, I pray that y'all work together. Y'all may want to have some meetings, and I'm not going to say executive meetings, but y'all might want to practice before y'all come out here, because some of these things is not working. So I just want y'all, because y'all are on the internet, so it doesn't look good when we don't look good. So when y'all don't look good, we don't look good. So I just hope that y'all work together on everything. Read all emails in its entirety in a timely fashion, so that when you come to a board meeting, you are all aware about what's going on. And you're not saying, oh, well, let's pin this or hold this until the next meeting. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Okay, we're going to move on to the appointment of the solicitor. Can I have a motion to appoint Robert DiOrio as solicitor?
So move.
Second.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much. It continues to be a privilege to work together with such a hardworking board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. DiOrio. I need a motion to approve the 2023 Southeast Delco Board of School Directors Business and Committee of the Whole monthly public meeting dates.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we want to reaffirm adoption of the Pennsylvania School Boards Association standards for effective school governance and code of conduct.
So-
Let me finish, please. For members of the board.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we're going to approve the current policies of the board.
Motion.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any other public comments? Dr. Winder, did you have any comments before we adjourn? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll hit the gravel for the last time.